Welcome to Season 5, The Podwriter. Today we have wonderful guest with us from USA. Welcome to the show, sir.
Hello.
Thanks. Nice to be here.
And this is my first show wherein I'm having a host and a co-host together for their podcast, Unprofessional Development Podcast. Welcome, sirs, I would say.
There you go. Yeah, so you got to juggle with both hands now, huh? Yeah.
I already apologize.
Yeah, we'll try not to interrupt each other too much, but it might happen.
Okay. So if you could introduce yourself to our listeners one by one.
Sure, go Tudisco.
Hey, I'm Tudisco. I'm an English teacher in North Carolina, and yeah, I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, and I'm Mealey. I'm a math teacher. So we co-host a podcast together where we basically talk about what it's like to be a teacher. We talk to other education professionals. Some of them are teachers, principals, people who've written books, people who like educate people outside of like the traditional classroom, maybe in a corporate setting or in a coaching setting or something like that. And we just have fun and realize that trying to get other people to learn something is really ridiculously hard and often amusing. So that's kind of what we do.
What's more amusing is the maths teacher has more to say as compared to English teacher.
I mean, you know, I'm just thinking about poetry.
Oh, wow.
That's it.
Brevity is the soul of wit, right, Tudisco?
Absolutely. Hamlet.
That's again interesting. And I heard your one of the episode with Tracy, and when she was speaking about kindergarten, it's just like, you know, the experience is just the same when I listened to you in each episodes. It's like...
Like we're the kindergartners?
Yes.
Wouldn't deny that. That's a fun part, actually.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely.
Oh, we absolutely are. Yeah, we just...
You
I really like shapes and colors.
Yes, I'm eating paste right now. So.
So it's a colorful paste then. Okay, and how did you come up with the name that you have for your podcast?
Oh, that's all Mealey.
Yeah, so I assume it's in other fields as well, but in teaching, when we get trained when the kids aren't there, they always call it professional development, and I guess it sounds very nice when they say it to them, but so we thought that, and our idea is that you can learn more about being a good teacher just by having a relaxed conversation with other teachers, as opposed to having some quote unquote expert standing at the front of the room with a slideshow and possibly some kind of program that he's wanting your school to buy and make all the teachers do the exact same thing. Whereas we think it's better just saying, hey, this is what happened to me. Why do you think that happened? Why do you think the kids do that? How can you do this different? And so that's kind of like the unprofessional, and also just the idea of being unprofessional with us being, you know, comical, lighthearted, sarcastic, all of those kind of things as well. So
playing safe.
Yeah. Say that one more time.
So it's like playing safe, coming up with unprofessional part.
Yes. Yeah.
Or it also could be like, you know, it just struck to me that it's like professional undevelopment you don't want to talk about.
There you go.
So it's like unprofessional development.
Exactly. And I was gonna say the emphasis is on the un. You know, it's like, so
right.
it's not that we are unprofessional in terms of we're not like being, you know, some people hear that and they go, oh, they like coming to work like intoxicated and, you know, punching people and doing like committing crimes and stuff like that. No, it's just, we just think that you don't need to be as buttoned up and, you know, color inside the lines that some people try to.
Yeah, when people act professional, they stop acting human.
Yes.
And that's the last thing kids need.
Yes.
Absolutely. So which grades do you teach?
I've taught all of high school, so that's 9 through 12. And so for people who are listening from other places, so basically like 13-year-olds through 18-year-olds, basically. So, but this year I'm teaching seniors, which is mostly 17 and 18-year-olds.
And I used to teach in the high school. I bounced back and forth between high school and middle school. So right now I'm with 7th graders. So they're about 12 years old, 12 to 13. And but I've taught all the way up to seniors as well, up to 18-year-olds.
So hats off to both of you for your effortless work that you all do. It's like amazing.
Thank you.
It's definitely not effortless.
No, a lot of effort. A lot of effort.
That-
A lot of effort. Yes, it is very, very draining. Yeah.
So the English teacher caught it.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
We just you know,
Okay.
we make it look easy because we're so good. That
Yeah,
must be
that's
it.
That- That's how professional you all are.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, and like in your podcasting journey or otherwise, would like to know if you all had any low moments or tough times.
Getting started was tough, and I think the big struggle that we've had in podcasting is just merely getting used to the fact that I'm not good at doing things. So like checking calendars and getting things done without deadlines. So Mealey'd say like, we should do this, be like, yeah, and I can do it. And then it'd never happen. So, but other than that, like, I mean, we've gotten along personality wise, and we've always had a pretty solid group of guests. It's really easy to find teachers who want to commiserate loudly. So that's always been beneficial.
I was going to say, there was the one guest, it was probably early on, and she hadn't been on a podcast before.
Oh, I
and
forgot about this.
She was saying, well, so I have a story about that. Or she's like, she's like, do you want me to like explain that more? And I'm like, yes, like we're like you're here to talk about these things. Like she really was, she would give us very short answers, and we're like, we had you on so you could kind of like share some of your ideas, your thoughts, your experiences. And it was very much pulling teeth, and it was challenging.
Oh, I
Go
thought you were
ahead.
going to talk about the other guest that we had, that the episode that will never air.
Oh,
Where
we did have that.
we have
Go
strict
ahead.
rules for our guests. Like, we're teachers, so like, we are cognizant of the fact that like students and parents might be listening. So we make rules like we don't mention people's names, we don't curse, we don't talk about inappropriate stuff. And we had a guest on who was just buck wild, who just wanted to talk about religion and politics and curse, and then went on a 20-minute rant about Johnny Cash. It was very confusing.
Yes, yeah, it was very enjoyable for us, but it was not something
It must.
that we wanted to get out into the public forum, and
Yeah.
it was beyond it was unprofessional. It was just way out there. Like if we'd gotten out there, we would have been possibly there would have been disciplinary action possibly.
Okay, and like in your personal life, if I have to ask you, how do you cope your tough moments?
So that one more time.
How do we cope with our tough moments?
Oh,
I'm more of an introvert when it comes to that sort of stuff. So when I'm dealing with something tough, I like need to process it by myself, and listen to music. Music helps, and art helps, and poetry helps. And then I'll need to go to people and vent everything. That's how I tend to deal with the toughness and the overwhelming aspects.
I was going to say, I have two things. I do scream and yell too much. I know that. So there are times when I'm
Really?
struggling. Yes, I do. Scream and yell too much. You don't see it, Tudisco, but my family sees it. And then the other thing is, which I think I'm on the spectrum of, I'm not in the danger zone of it, but I also release stress by laughing, sometimes too much at something that isn't that funny. And so it literally happened the other day. I didn't realize I was stressed. Like sometimes you don't know that the stress is kind of building up on you,
Yeah.
and so like something happens and it lets out. And so I'm at the grocery store with my wife, and which also stresses me out, by the way. But
Okay.
and we have different modes of
And
shopping. I'm very much like get it done, and she's very much like she stares at stuff a lot, and I'm in a hurry. And anyway,
so,
so she sends me off on errands. Hey, go get this item, go get that item. And so she had sent me off to get stuffing, which is like this bread that we like make at Thanksgiving. And she'd also sent me off to get this sauce, which I knew didn't go with the stuffing. But when I got the stuffing, it was A1 sauce to this. I don't know if people know what A1 sauce is.
Steak sauce.
Know. Yeah, steak sauce. So it goes on steak. You know what I mean? It
Not
doesn't
turkey.
go.
Yeah.
Nor in bread stuffing, right? But I get this. I'm like, so are you gonna put this in the stuffing? And she looks at me and she goes, "Yep." And I don't know why. I don't know why. Just the way that she said it, I started laughing, and I laughed in the store for well over
loud.
5 minutes, and I couldn't stop laughing, almost to the point of tears. And she's just looking at me, and the more she looked at me and just shook her head, the funnier it was to me. And so it's not.
It's a strange nervous tick.
It is. I don't know. I don't know how healthy or unhealthy that is a way to relieve stress. But when I get done, I feel really, really good.
Okay, so it's like the English teacher is like introvert and retains all the energy inside processing it, while the maths teacher is expressive, and it's not in numbers, it's in words then.
Yes.
And jokes.
Yeah. The only reason I'm not an English teacher is because I don't want to read sucky essays. I don't. I love talking about reading and writing, and I love books and stuff like that, but I don't want to read horrible writing by students that can't write and have to spend hours upon hours. I'd rather be able to look at something and go, "Oh, that's wrong. Okay, red mark. Oh, that's right. Cool." You know,
right.
Grading math is much easier than grading English.
And the only reason I don't teach math is because I think it's too easy. Oh, 2 + 2 is 4. Got it? Cool.
Yes.
Try to break down Shakespeare.
Yes.
Absolutely. Both have its own importance. And I can relate to the English part because my mom is an English teacher. And the most difficult thing, it's like, as you said, reading the essay part, absolutely bang on. You're right.
Yeah.
It's very tough. Okay,
It's
anything you would like to share for the podcasters, since you have almost got coming near to a century for your episodes?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're almost hitting our 100th. It's been fun and wild.
Yeah, so definitely, well, Tudisco, pitch how the podcast is for people who aren't teachers.
I mean, I think it's fascinating. Like a lot of my friends, aren't teachers, but they still really enjoy the podcast because education is something we've all dealt with. And it's interesting to look at the nuts and bolts. We all remember funny stories and bad teachers. It's a pretty universal experience. And so being able to actually look at it and reflect on it and think about, I mean, so much in our lives and so much in our interactions is us trying to get people to understand something. And so when we could figure out, maybe how to get that done or figure out why it matters and remind ourselves of those things. It can be really inspirational, actually.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It is inspirational when you listen to other teachers, and of course, you both just, summarizing it in a better way so that people can actually understand without experiencing. It's like, yes, it's made easy. And the stories, yes, are amazing. And we all can learn from listening to how you all have, brought in the guests from diverse background. And they have shared some very beautiful insights.
Oh
yeah.
I'm just curious, how many episodes have you listened to? Let's go. And I'm putting you on the spot, but how many did you listen to? Just a couple or a bunch?
I think I've listened to 2.
No, I'm asking.
I- that's a maths teacher, you know. He's good enough to analyze
he needs the
what
numbers.
you all do.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So a bunch would be fine.
Yes.
Now you can multiply it
I-
as many times you can.
There we go.
Yeah, I know, but
Okay.
I also really like we get just such a wide variety of guests too. Like we've interviewed people who have taught in the middle of a jungle, and we've interviewed people who've taught in a juvenile detention center, and you know, Mealey got us to talk to TV star Tony Danza.
Yes,
You know.
that is our claim to fame there.
So I mean, all kinds of people. It's just been
Yes.
it's been really eye-opening.
Yes.
It is. With each episode and each guest, you learn so much.
Mhm.
And the internal growth that happens is like beyond any words.
Mm-hmm.
I'll
And
still try to
with
find the
that,
words though.
okay. I'll give a pause then.
There we go.
And it's like, when you all do the podcasting, I'm sure that you all must have faced something wherein you felt later on that you should have done this or that. So if you could share with the podcasters as to, like a tips or some tricks that they can carry forward with.
I'm gonna say, I mean, the big advice that we always give is get a co-host.
Yes.
Because we just love having each other to rely on,
Mhm.
and having somebody to just help out and fill in the gaps of things that you don't like to do.
Yeah. That definitely helps because Tudisco does the editing, and I can't stand editing. And so that went back to the introvert extrovert thing. I do the social, stuff, and I'm active on Twitter and going out and getting guests, whether it be on Twitter or in other ways, getting people there. So having that balance and having someone that can do the things that you don't want to do, so that overall we can have an enjoyable experience.
It also just kept me from
That-
giving up. Because it's like
That
exercise.
I'm actually experiencing also that yes, it brings more dynamics to a podcast wherein you have a host and a co-host together.
Yeah.
As you say, it's filling each other's spaces. And of course, since you both have your own personalities, one is good with numbers, so it's like handling all the deadlines and the calendar part, the other with the words.
Yes.
I agree. He is the
That's-
adult.
Okay.
I don't think that's true at all. I have one foot in childhood and adulthood. I'd say I'm an adult in terms of because I want something done, but when it comes to as soon as the microphone clicks on and we click record, I am nowhere near the adult. So
It shows how much experience you had with the kids.
yeah. Yes. And I was gonna say that's very true. Like we can be very adult in preparing our lessons in terms of gathering materials and resources and having some kind of this is what we want to do. But then as soon as you're in a room with a bunch of children, if you're not being somewhat childlike or having some kind of qualities that they can appreciate, then the learning won't happen. And you have to really find that balance. Like, okay, I can't let us just throw things at each other and do other kind of stuff. We've got an idea, but I also want this to be engaging, fun, and appreciate the fact that these are kids as well as people who are trying to learn. And there's a lot of things when you see a behavior or an attitude, you go, oh, it's because you're 14. That's why you're acting like that. Why would I expect you to act like a 30-year-old? That makes no sense because you're not.
I remember on the last episode when you pointed out that all behavior is communication.
Right.
And that's something like I've known from teaching, but I've never actually been able to put into words, but it's true. Like all behavior is communication.
Yes.
Yeah. And we have to make sure we're communicating that. Sorry.
So it's like I just wanted to know one thing. Like in your classroom, did you find any differently abled kid or special kids?
Oh yeah, we have lots of students with special needs and learning disabilities.
Mhm.
And yeah, students with physical disabilities. I have them pretty much every year. We in North Carolina, we do a really good job of inclusion. So we blend our classrooms with kids who are considered normal. Nobody's normal, but
Right.
the kids are considered the average or neurotypical students, and then and blend in kids with some learning disabilities. And if we have kids with more severe issues, then we'll have like another teacher in with us, a co-teacher, to sort of help carry that load. But yeah, every year, and it's, I mean, everybody's different. So I sometimes have kids with issues or disabilities where they are the hardest working kids in the class, and I have some kids with issues and disabilities where it's every day. It's a struggle. It's a fight.
Mhm.
But
I was gonna say to
So
piggyback. Oh, go ahead.
no, so it's like when you have such diverse students in the class, any special thing that you would like to share with the teachers as to when they are dealing?
Well, I was gonna say, first of all, be patient. And that's one of the biggest challenges is helping other kids who don't have those needs to know healthy, respectful ways to interact with those kids. Because sometimes it can be easy to pick on them or to laugh at them or to misunderstand their behaviors
are you
as
telling me
something.
teenagers like to laugh at people who are different or weird?
I mean, yes.
Huh.
And and the other big challenges that we find often will so the kid has some special needs, and sometimes they're diagnosed some and there's some kind of plan and something like that, and sometimes it's not like we realize it and the kid may or may not realize it, and then here comes the issue is the parent doesn't realize it because some of these things are genetic or that's some kind of their half nature, half nurture, whatever. But this kid has grown up with a parent with very similar issues. And because that's normal for the parent, because that's who they are as a person, they don't see that their kid has challenges and they don't understand what's going on with their kid or how to support or to help their kid. And then or you talk to the parent and you're like, oh no, like this is the issue. It's not, it's
Yeah, I mean, a lot of, I mean, there are kids who are not neurotypical, who have conditions and such, and there are kids who just come from trauma,
right.
and you can work with them as much as you want, and they'll go right back to those traumatic homes, which is hard.
Yes.
It's really hard. But I mean, yeah, the most important thing for me is meeting them where they already are. So don't try to get them onto like, not don't try, but like, don't be so wrapped up in your curriculum. Oh, this week we got to read this poem. Well, if the kid is going to struggle with that, like make sure you have things in place. Or, oh, we're going to do an essay. Well, I have kids who sometimes are so neurotic that they can't get past their own handwriting, right? They'll start writing one sentence and then keep rewriting it, or get stuck on the punctuation, and they'll take them forever. Where like if I sit down and just ask them questions and write down what they say, then they'll give me a beautiful response. So if I just figure out what they need and how best that they can show their brilliance and show what they can do, then they'll succeed. But you also got to just make them feel like they can do it.
Mhm.
Absolutely. And both of you have beautifully articulated it that yes, we need to be observant, empathetic, and be in sync with the need of the child rather
Mhm.
than having your own curriculum.
Mhm.
And of course, amazing teachers make or break the life of a child. And you both will actually make the life of each student that come across you both. I can say that by
I,
listening to you.
I will try.
Yes, it's both humbling and
Terrifying.
yeah. I was gonna say, I have a sign in my room that says today is the day you change someone's life, just to remind, because part of it is just the position, and the kids look at us as an authority figure, and so our words have more impact sometimes than we realize that they have. Oh, well, my teacher said that. It's
Oh.
no,
Absolutely.
some knucklehead that happened to become a teacher said that is actually,
Yeah.
actually more like the truth.
No, that is true. And of course, each word spoken by the teacher is very valuable to the kids.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And any tips for podcasters besides you all suggesting that go ahead and have a co-host besides
Um,
that?
Well, yeah. Oh, do you have them?
You go first, Mealey. You got this
Okay.
one.
Yeah. Find other podcasters and create a community, in whether it be people who are podcasting in your same field. Like we're in a pretty large field. I have a group DM on Twitter with about 13, 15 education podcasters, and we had we called it EduPodlooza, where we had an all day, we recorded for, was it 8 hours to Tudisco, and we had various groups coming in at various times, up to like a dozen podcasters talking at once, and sometimes it was 6 or 7, and we did a bunch of different things. But if you can find other podcasters, whether it be on a Facebook group or a Twitter DM or something like that, so you can go, hey, I had this problem, what do I do? Or share the experiences and the ups and downs and tips and stuff like that. I think that is like that opens you to a world of other tips.
And
Absolutely. Thanks a lot.
yeah,
And
and I would.
yes,
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
no, you were saying something?
Oh, I was just gonna say, and the other advice definitely is, if you're thinking about starting a podcast, do it.
Yes.
Like if you're worried, like, oh, there are a lot of podcasts out there, and I probably won't make $1 million. Who cares? Do it. Like it's fun. Like it's just it's fun to just schedule conversations with people, because sometimes as adult we just need excuses to meet new humans. So like just do it and shout into the void and have fun doing it.
Yes.
That's also very important. And any funny moment that you had while recording a podcast, besides what you have shared?
Oh man. Yeah, lots.
Okay, I was gonna say there's definitely quite a few, but
EduPodlooza. We had so since it was an 8-hour marathon, we scheduled in different things, and one of them was we made a radio drama. We actually like got together with some other teacher friends. We wrote one out, and we added in, like, we made it like a radio show. So we had like sound effects going, and all the sound effects worked except for like the one most important one, which was like to stop the action of a scene, there needed to be a whistle. And so the scene was just kind of continuing and never stopped. And like our guy who was on sound effects, like it just didn't work, and like was trying to refresh it. It was all messed up. So in it, the guy playing the gym teacher just shouts out, "Whistle!" And we all lost it.
Yes. Yes.
I think that was probably one of my favorite moments.
I was going to say another one. So there was this education podcaster. Her name's Jen Gonzalez. She's one of the early education podcasters out there. Her podcast is called Cult of Pedagogy, and it's a huge podcast. Like, she does make a living podcasting, you know what I mean, and speaking and other stuff like that. And so I was like pursuing her, and I got her to follow me on Twitter, and so I talked to her in DMs and back and forth. She's like, well, I can't do it right now, I'm busy. And it took forever to like find a time that worked for her. I mean, it was literally 5-6 months of rescheduling. And then she's finally on our podcast. And all of a sudden, the recording software that I'm using crashes right in front of my eyes. And I'm like, oh, and I try to restart it and it's not working. And I'm like, oh my goodness, I'm trying to like be friends with you and convince you that I'm like a podcaster too. And here it is, and I don't know what to do. And she was just so sweet. And she's like, I got this. And then she said, here, da, 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 da. And so she turned into the host essentially. And she's like, I'm going to record it and I will send you the file when we're done and all that kind of stuff. So it was really fantastic experience. But at the time, my stomach was just in knots. I felt like,
Must have been.
yes.
And how, just share with our listeners as to how they can listen to your podcast.
Yeah. So if you just Google Unprofessional Development Podcast, boom, there we are. So it's nice. I know there's some podcasts that have generic names and all of that, but if you just Google Unprofessional Development Podcast, we're there. So every podcast app, we're in it. And if you go on Twitter, even if you Google Unprofessional Development Twitter, I'm pretty sure that we pop up, but it's at Unprocast. So, Unpro for Unprofessional Development and Cast for podcast. So at Unprocast. And I'm very active. If you follow me, I'll follow you back. If you want to talk about podcasting, you can talk to me in the DMs. And
we just started a merchandising store in Threadless.
Yes, we do have merch. So if you want to wear an Unprofessional Development t-shirt or have a mug, So we'll send you the link to that.
Okay, sure. I'll share it with my listeners.
Yes.
And thanks for sharing such rich moments and experiences with our listeners. It's really enriching and fun.
Thank you.
That's the aim.
Absolutely. And who else can say better than a teacher, an English teacher?
Mm-hmm.
For sure. Okay.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, we appreciate you having us on.
Yeah.
Yes. Though I honestly thought when you first talked to us that it was going to be more therapy, and I thought you were going to help us resolve our
marital disputes.
Issues. Yes. Whatever.
Now, this is all dedicated to you all, your hard work, and yes, the passion that goes in. It reflects in each episode that you have published till date.
Mm-hmm.
It's amazing.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot for being here, and keep growing and spreading the positivity and the cheer part that you all are doing.
We will.
Thanks a lot. Take care.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye. Is this real bye or is this just the recording bye?
This will go live.
Okay. So did you have anything else you need to tell us or ask us before we jump off the Zoom?
Because there's hardly any minutes left.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
But it's really nice to listen to both of you, and you both are really good teachers.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
We try.
We try. Yes.
Yeah.
All right, we enjoyed it.
It's like you all should not say try, at least now. I mean, just imagine the student saying, I'll try to complete the work.
Yes.
You've got to do it and you are doing it.
There you go.
Thanks a lot once again for being here.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. And this one is bye. This was Mr. William Mealey, a maths teacher, and Christopher Tudisco, an English teacher, who run the podcast Unprofessional Development, wherein they share stories by teachers and also share the importance and relevance of education in one's life. The fact that teachers, no matter how professional they are or their preparation may be, but once within the four walls with the kids, they ought to adapt and be in sync with the kids and have positive learning and sharing vibes. This is the biggest takeaway from this episode for all of us. Along with this, a very important aspect is also there for the teachers, that they should impart acceptance of each other to their students, no matter from which background or whether there is a special need case in the class. On this note, I would also like to salute all the teachers for their selfless work, especially during pandemic. Mr. Mealey and Tudisco have a mission to help people understand why and how education is important in our lives. their motto to advocate mindfulness as all behavior is a form of communication and that professionalism should not mean one should stop acting human. On that note, I would like to end the episode. Hope you all enjoyed listening to these two amazing teachers with a fun element. We should all strive to keep humor intact in our lives, and that would be really, really interesting and de stressing. So, with that, hope to see you all again in my next episode with another guest and their story. Till then, take care and be safe. Bye.
Oh yeah, I'm
Cool.
ready.
All right.
Okay.